I thought it would be fun to make some Easter baskets, because I haven't really done much since the cards. And I picked up these awesome, like, craft paper, like rice containers, right? So I think these will be really cute if you put some Easter grass in them and a few eggs full of candy. But I want to do a little design on one side of them. I'm going to pick one of the flat sides. I'm going to use probably bunnies and birds on two of them, and I want to use these sort of carrots on the other one. I may need a light pad here to actually line this up, because that's going to be a little bit trickier to do. But luckily we have one, if you saw my last video. Anyway, so sort of phase one is I'm going to wax and then heat and then buff all three of these. I'm going to grab the terry cloth side of this to pick up some wax, and I'm not going to be like, I don't, these felt a little coated because I think their intended purpose is actually to be used to store food, but so I'm just gonna sort of lightly wax them. The other option is you can just use a bunch of wax and then heat set them. I'm gonna probably, actually I think I'll work with them one at a time, just because that'll be easier. And then, like, the other ones will provide some structure here, basically. So I'm just gonna heat set this quick. And I love this heat it tool just because it's got a really slow fan speed, so it doesn't really cause too much issues. And you can see as the wax kind of heats up, it kind of colorizes this a little bit, and so then I'm going to sort of buff it in. That's why I'm kind of trying to keep it to one side, because I think this wax will just sort of darken the side a little bit. It'll give it sort of a, you know, more of an antique look. The other thing we could do is do it on both sides to make it a little more consistent. I don't know, this is for my parents, it's probably fine. And then you can feel it, you can actually feel the difference, that it feels a lot more waxed. Yeah, I think I'll just do one side. And go from there. But the good news is it'll make it really easy to tell, like, where I've waxed versus not. So then I'm going to go in and repeat this a couple times. The goal here being to basically smooth out the surface partially. That's one of the two things that the wax does, and it also allows the transfer to not stick quite so much. And the purpose of the whole buffing phase here is to sort of remove any excess wax. So, as you can see, these two are done. And I can't count, so I need a third one, so let me just grab that quick. I picked these up on Amazon, and they were kind of fun. I mean, they seem like they'd be really nice to use for, you know, gift things of various types. There we go. Okay. Here's number 3. And the nice part about doing this on craft paper is this stuff soaks in and dries really, really fast. I mean, not dries exactly, but, you know, sets up. And this is basically darkening because we're, like, allowing it to actually soak in, which is, you know, what the transfer might do as well if we didn't do this phase. So anyway, that's pretty much done, and that took, what, like 5 minutes? So, I don't know. Waxing is always a pretty easy process. So, now I'm going to grab my light pad so that I can line and do the hop to it first. The nice thing here, as you can probably see, is like this gives you you could actually do the words. The issue here is, like, I can't quite see the crease through here, but like I think this is, is a little too high, so they get kind of cut off. So I'm just going to basically look to kind of center the carrots themselves and not use the rest of this. We may need this later for the other guys, but here we've got these pretty much good to go. And I'm going to grab just a standard small squeegee. I used this last week, so it should be pretty much mixed up. Yeah. But you can also pre-stir this to get it a little. Pre-stirring it kind of gets a little less. And see, I wound up sort of messing this up a little bit, but it'll be fine. You know, I basically have I have a lot of it on the tip of my squeegee, which is not quite where I would want it because it'll get on my hand. Anyway, I'm just scraping off the other pieces. And I don't know, I may change over to a slightly different tool. Wow, windy day, you can really hear the wind. And let's see how this came out. This came out pretty perfect. See a little speckles in a couple places due to the hot to it and kind of getting over the edge. But once these are dry, I think I can just wipe them off. Or if not, I'll just leave them and it'll look cute. But I like how this is looking generally. So we will set that to the side to dry. And I think, because I'm doing these pretty quickly with one color, I can get away with not washing these all at once, and we'll just do sort of a wash on them at the end. This one I used recently, so it should look pretty good. Same issue, like you really can't you kind of have to pick the thing you want. So I'm going to put the bunny head center here, and I'm going to grab a new squeegee. Because I'd rather not, get this all over myself. This one has a lot more open area, and we kind of have to decide, I definitely want all the ears, but we kind of have to decide if and when we want to stop on the bottom. If we want to just sort of have it, I'm going to scrape the paste off and then sort of scrape towards the edge, just so, it's not, I don't want a big glop on the bottom, essentially. But I'm not opposed to, having it sort of have more of a slightly bled off look as we sort of, as I kind of move it that way. And I think I've gotten about all I can. I'm just going to pull down a little towards the corners. So it looks a little homemade, but not crazy so. And there's number 2. And that one looks pretty great. The wax is doing its job. And as these dry a little bit more, I think the wax gets a little less noticeable. But I do generally like the look of it. And then I'm going to grab one of the birds we used before. So I think that way we could do 2 bunnies in one hop to it, but I think I'll grab one of these birds. And again, these have been used recently. Whoop. The whole bird, I think, will fit, so I think I'll do this guy more like this. And grab the less messy squeegee. Sorry for knocking you if you're watching me on YouTube. I'm just going to move this around because this is a pretty open transfer, and I want to make sure I don't like lift up anything important while I'm playing around with this. The other thing is, even if you do, as long as some part of the transfer remain down, it's pretty easy to reposition it and not have issues. Like if you've ever seen the technique where people will like lift it up partially and dry so that they don't have this issue where paste dries on the transfer while it's down, which basically turns into a not so great experience when you're pulling it up. I think that corner, I can't tell if this corner is fully gotten, so I'll just do that again. And I think we are good. We will, yep, and that one got a little L too, so we'll see if we can't wash these off. I think we should be okay because we're dealing with wax paper, but we can also, the other option is we can just find some sort of Easter sticker and put it over. Actually, I don't know that I have any, but you know, you could do something with like washi tape, or you know, you could sort of make a border on these in various ways that would take care of that. So I'm going to go wash this stuff. One thing you will notice with the white is, because it's got, I mean, it's basically like a titanium white in paint, you do get a little ghosting after you've cleaned these, but it really has no effect on whether or not these work. That one looked good. The rest of these, I don't know, I'll just sort of like leave them. Well, I might try to clean. Using Dollar Tree foam brushes to do most of my detail work and transfer cleaning. And then we can just sort of dry this off a little bit. It will reactivate the wax if you do this, but so I don't know. I think these are awesome. I am going to hit these a little bit with a hairdryer just to sort of make sure they're set before I start doing other stuff. I'm letting my transfers dry upside down on a fuzzing cloth, but it can be upside down on pretty much anything. The one thing you want to kind of watch out for is if you had them sticky side down, they will stick to stuff. Like, obviously, if it's a towel, it's not the end of the world. We should be pretty good. And as soon as they sort of air dry, the transfers air dry for a while, you can put them back. Anyway, I am not seeing any white, so we're probably okay. So, I'll let these continue to chill off to the side a little bit. I've returned with candy. I have some jelly beans and some Starburst Tropicals and some mini eggs, but you can do whatever you want. And really, you could just throw the mini eggs in there all by themselves. So maybe I'll do maybe I'll do two like eggs filled with candy and then a mini egg. So from, I want to say Dollar Tree, but it might have been Amazon or Oriental Trading. Things get ripped, unfortunately, but I've gotten a bunch of paper Easter grass. So basically, I'm going to grab a handful and stick it in the bottom so they look more Easter basket-y. This stuff seems to be easier to clean up than the sort of traditional plastic Easter grass that always seems to go everywhere. This also kind of goes everywhere, but at least it doesn't like have as many static issues as the old school kind. go. Sort of ripped in an unfortunate space, but I'll probably put this in a gallon bag and save it for next year, because it's sort of like, how much Easter grass does one person actually need? Anywho, also from the dollar store, and you can tell because this one fell apart. Yeah. Some of these are connected, some of them are not. So like these are all connected. These used to be connected, but somehow fell apart. So 3 pink, 3 gold. I'll put the ones that aren't very connected back, I think. Starbursts, of course, if you caught one of my other videos, are my all-time favorite candy. And the tropical are my favorite kind. So you basically just clip them together and you have an egg full of candy. So we'll do the pink eggs first, and then we'll use the jelly beans in the other eggs. Of course, you can put as little or as much candy as you would like, including no candy if that's your preference. That would have been my mother's preference, I think, when I was a young child, so that I wasn't zooming around the house. But now that I'm an old child, I have lots of additional toys. And let's see, does this rip? Or, yeah, it does. Jelly Bellies are my favorite jelly bean and are made in the USA. You can actually go tour their facility in California if you're in that area. I forget exactly where they are. I want to say they're kind of in the Bay Area somewhere. And if you drop any jelly beans, you get to eat them. These are the fruit bowl ones, but you know, if you have a really awesome store, they will actually let you kind of make your own mix, which I used to like to do. There aren't stores around here that have done that in a while, but you know. But I don't know. Easter is one of those. It's interesting. My father's family was very religious, but my mother's family was more not. So, you know, we have a good mix of traditions between just straight up candy and, you know, other things on our various holidays. These were an Amazon purchase, so I'm not sure how well they are. And my cat might be joining us, and we're hoping he doesn't eat any chocolates, because then he'd be dead, and that would be sad for everybody involved. Now these are very dry. You can see. Got our little eggs nestled in. I'm just going to liberally dark chocolate with little eggs. These actually smell really good. I think I'll do an impromptu taste test of one. So, chocolate egg, premium chocolates, Madeline's, direct from Amazon. I got these because I wanted dark chocolate mini eggs, so I prefer those to the light chocolate ones. It's a lot like a Dove, like the Dove Square things. It's a lot like the Dove Dark, which I enjoy a lot. If you do too, this might be a good chocolate option. These are mostly dry on the sticky side, so I put them back, on the transfer backer, so now I'll let them just keep drying on the top side while we finish off our project. Now you can sort of aesthetically move these around to your heart's desire, but once you're done, just much like any other takeout container. Sort of pre-fold the bits, and stick one tab in the other tab, and you're good. So that's basically what we got. Little mini Easter baskets for a family for Easter, which is coming up in 2 days.